Do you agree with Embiid?
No, I do not. First of all, let me say this. I'm happy that Brett Brown kept his job. I certainly wasn't an advocate of him being dismissed, not to mention the fact that the Sixers owed him $15 million because his new contract kicks in next season. So they were going to offer him, they were going to be on the hook for $15 million, and the likelihood of him losing his job was slim to none once he got past Brooklyn in the first round. Having said all of that, let's not completely absolve Brett Brown. Brett Brown deserves the job. He's got him to the playoffs twice, Eastern Conference semifinals twice. He deserves respect for that. The flip side is there are many, many, many in-game decisions that are highly questionable, particularly plays that are called out after timeouts. I'm also looking at two things that I'm going to hold him somewhat accountable for. Not totally, but somewhat. Somewhat accountable for Ben Simmons not working on his jump shot. And you can see, and we'll talk about it later on in the show, Brett, wait till you see Ben Simmons' exit discussion with the media. Wait till you see that. The other thing is, to a lesser degree, Joel Embiid in the post, or to more of a degree, rather, Joel Embiid in the post. This man is 7'1", he's 260 plus. The footwork is exceptional. He's got tremendous, tremendous skill. When healthy, he's considered the best big man in basketball. Why he is not utilized closer to the basket, why he is consistently out on the perimeter and half the time out of the three-point line is beyond me. This is not, I mean, he can make the three, but that ain't his strength. And the fact that Joel Embiid hasn't been allowed or hasn't been forced to develop into a better post presence, I'm going to look at Brett Brown and his coaching staff for that as well. The utilization sometimes of J.J. Redick, how he's been utilized, not helping Ben, or not really fostering Ben Simmons' development quicker to the point where he had to be relegated to somebody, you know, spying on the baseline, looking for putbacks and all of this other stuff. These are all things that have something to do with Brett Brown. So while he doesn't deserve to be fired, and he does deserve to keep his job, he has shown on several occasions he's still learning on the job, that he has not yet arrived as an elite coach in the National Basketball Association. And I think that the Sixers, while I support them keeping him on the job because I think he deserves to keep his job, they also need to keep an eye on him and not go the route of saying, you know what, we're very happy with him. We have nothing to worry about moving forward in our future. He needs to be reminded there are some things he has to modify.
I agree with Embiid. And the reason I agree with him is because Embiid is the one saying it and selling it. He sold me. I believe Embiid likes this guy and wants to play for him. And that's all I got to hear. Okay. Because it's Embiid's team. My radical idea, if you say, what would I do if I ran, remember that Dr. Seuss book? Does anyone remember If I Ran the Zoo?
No, we don't remember that, Max. We don't remember.
A million years ago.
We don't. We don't.
Yeah, anyway.
Okay, anyway.
The point is...
Okay.
What is it, though? Now I want to
Well, it's a little un-PC now because I find that there's some racist depictions in that book. But, you know, back then it was... But anyway...
Why would you ask that man that question to distract him?
Yeah. At any rate...
Let him go.
At any rate...
Go ahead, Max. I was wondering about Dr. Seuss in the zoo. Now he brought up the zoo, and I never read it.
The point was, it began, if I ran the zoo, said young Gerald McGrew, I'd make a few changes. Yes, that's what I'd do. That's right. That's what I'd do. And this is the changes I'd make if I was Gerald McGrew, Stephen A. I would trade Joel Embiid. Because what I see is a big guy with an injury history. The injuries seem to continue, especially chronically with his back and knee. And given his size and the way giants age anyway, and you got to see through attrition the first 5 or 6 years who's still left standing, I would get while the getting's good.
I'm interjecting because I want to come to you with a question about what you just said. I just want to make sure I'm clear. You're saying that the guy that sat in front of the media, the star of the team, and gave his unwavering support to the head coach, and that's the reason you support the head coach staying. You're saying that the very guy that supports the head coach, which is the reason why you support the head coach, is the same guy you trade.
But what I'm saying is, yes, I would, because I see Ben Simmons at the same age as the Greek Freak at 21 is basically the same player. By age 22, the Freak is already different, and Ben Simmons is stagnated. And I think that's because he's on the same team with Embiid, and you want Embiid to post more, you got to play 5 out with Simmons, give him his own team. So I believe you can get such a haul for Embiid right now that you would have cap space, draft picks, Ben Simmons at 22, everything you got for Embiid. Within 2 or 3 years, you could be a dynasty.
The problem
wait. Hold on. Let me just finish this thought.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. So that's what I believe. Now, that's not what they believe, and that's not what's going to happen. That's a radical idea I have. Let's talk about the reality right now. The reality is this is Embiid's team. They're not going to trade him. They're going to keep him. And unless they can get like LeBron James for Ben Simmons, they're also probably going to keep Ben Simmons. So we have to deal not in my fantasy scenario, but in the reality. The reality is Joel Embiid is an MVP level player whose health stops him probably from being an actual MVP candidate, like top 2 or 3 vote getter, maybe actually a winner. He also played big throughout much of these playoffs. Even when he was sick, he was helping his team in other ways. Okay. If that guy says he likes the coach, and that coach got you to within 1 play of the Eastern Conference Finals, in spite of the fact that when the playoffs started, we all said, yeah, Philly's one of the big 4 in the East, but we all put them 4th. We thought we had the least confidence in them. They got 1 play away, and only because it was a miracle shot by the guy I consider the best player in basketball from the Eastern Conference Finals, and the best player on the team says, I want that coach, and you want to get rid of the coach?
Wait a minute. I didn't say I wanted to get rid of the coach. That's number one. Number two, let me be very clear. Let's go back to the radical part of your argument. You would move Embiid. This is the same Max Kellerman that says he can't be trusted because of his health. So what I'm saying to you is, what you going to get for him?